Let us direct our attention to the body of the poem. In Madurai, the poem begins in a very ordinary manner. The poem has a very ordinary title, and the very ordinary title is followed by a very ordinary opening. Nothing spectacular. Madurai, I told you, is one of the oldest cities of the world, the oldest city of the Tamil country, which stands on the river Vaigai. In Madurai, city of temples, there are countless temples in Madurai. Temples at every turn, in every corner, on every street. Temples everywhere. Numerous temples. You have to see it in order to believe it. In Madurai, city of temples and poets, I think I told you that Madurai was a city which hosted the Sangams in the early centuries of the Christian era. Even today, tremendous literary activity takes place in Madurai. I know of Tamil writers based in Madurai who claim that Madurai is the greatest literary hub of Tamil Nadu. My mother is from Madras, Chennai, and so I am not able to accept this claim. At the most, I can concede that Madurai competes with Chennai, for the position of the greatest literary hub of Tamil Nadu. Who sang of cities and temples? This is vintage Ramanujan. Ramanujan believed that the feather light touch is more effective than the hammer blow. And here we meet with the feather light touch of Ramanujan, the classic feather light touch of Ramanujan, who sang of cities and temples. Ramanujan does not launch a direct attack on the poets, on the Tamil poets. He does not launch a scathing attack on the Tamil poets. He's very subtle, he's very indirect. All that he says is that the poets sang of cities and temples. What is the implication? The implication is that the poets did not sing of poverty, deprivation, exploitation, injustice, inequality, hunger. One of the important thematic strands of the poem is the callousness of the poets, the cruel callousness of the poets. The poet Ramanujan, the poet, does not say that the poets were callous. He just says very innocently that the poets sang of cities and temples. What he could not stand in personal life was callousness. One of the things he could not stand in personal life was callousness. In real life, Ramanujan was a very sensitive person. He has been called the gentle genius, the gentle colossus. And his being extremely sensitive was one of the problems, I understand, that led to his completely disastrous marital life. His wife, Molly, was a Malayali. The problem was that Ramanujan was too sensitive for his own good. Have you ever heard of a man divorcing twice the same woman? Men divorce their wives. That's a very interesting subject. Men divorce more than once. Quite understandable. But here is a man who divorced twice the same woman. Part of the problem was that Ramanujan was too sensitive for his own good. I am reminded of a line from the Malayalam poet Changampura. കപട ലോകത്തിൽ ആത്മാർത്ഥമായൊരു ഹൃദയമുണ്ടായതാണെൻ പരാജയം. I shall try to translate it. I shall try to paraphrase it as well. I am a failure in this world. This world is a crooked world. I am a failure in this crooked world because I have a sincere heart. Sometimes I think that these lines are very much applicable to A.K. Ramanujan. The second stanza contains graphic images of the Vaigai in summer, but the poet stubbornly refuses to reveal the name of the river. He calls it just a river. It is not accidental, it is deliberate. The poet wants to trivialize the Vaigai, to demonstrate that after all is said and done, the Vaigai is just another river. And it's a river which in summer dries to a trickle. A trickle is a very small flow of liquid. Here in this case, water, bearing the sand ribs. Ribs are slender, curved bones in the chest. The poet imagines the uneven surface of the dried up river to be made of ribs, which in turn are made of sands. The picture is of a person, a very old man perhaps, on his deathbed, and the old man is nothing but skin and bones, and the ribs are clearly visible, only that in this case the ribs are made of sand. Straw and women's hair clogging the water gates. Clogging means blocking, preventing the smooth flow of. Water gates are the shutters which control the flow of water. The water gates are blocked by women's hair and straw, which collected the rusty bars of the shutters under the bridges, and the water gates are under the bridges with patches of repair all over them. The bridges are not in good condition. There are patches of repair all over them. The poet's point is that the administrators are not in the least concerned about the people. The water gates have rusty bars. The bridges have repair patches all over them. Now that the water has almost completely disappeared, the stones are visible, and the stones are compared by the poet to crocodiles and water buffaloes. There is no doubt that the similes are extremely original and extremely brilliant. Thus, there is a significant expansion in the second stanza of the concept of callousness presented in the opening stanza. It is now clear that it is not merely the poets who are callous. The administrators are callous as well. The government is callous as well. Permit me to bring into conjunction the second stanza of A River by A.K. Ramanujan and a section of Rough Passage by R. Parthasarathi. The section I have in mind is Homecoming 8, where Parthasarathi calls the Vaigai not a river but river once. This is what Parthasarathi says of the Vaigai. I quote, "River once of this sweet city," unquote.